Awesome, awesome. So, how has y'all's day been?
Oh, it's been wonderful for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. So, you had the opportunity, as McKenna, you said that y'all were able to watch the film.
Yes,
Yes.
uh-huh. We watched it yesterday.
So, what were
Late
your
evening.
what was your first impression about the movie?
I mean, I think it was Black excellent.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I think it touched on pretty much everything that we deal with in terms of the this whole natural hair movement, the whole experience with the hair. We're still dealing with issues of color, you know, texture. What is a real
Mm-hmm.
naturalista? What is not? You know, how extreme different schools of thought. So you guys touched on all of
Mm-hmm.
that, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I know McKenna. She told us a lot about you, and she was saying that you are over a natural hair like group in San Diego, right?
Yes.
Can you
Uh-huh.
tell me a little bit about that? Because you guys were like the pioneers when being natural was cool back then, right? So can you tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about,
Before
Is it
YouTube.
before it was cool, right?
yeah. So
Yes. Oh
can
my
you tell us
God.
a bit about your journey?
Whew, okay. So the natural hair meetup came about. We've been doing the meetup for about 12 years now,
Wow.
Yes,
and
over 12 years.
it's
Mm-hmm.
been over 12 years. Yeah. So originally there was a young lady who had started the meetup when meetup.com first came out. And, you know, I guess she had a child or something like that. So she stepped down. And so
Nice.
Makena, of course, Makena is always looking out for her sister. And
Yeah.
Makena said, you know, there's a group that they need a organizer, you know, and being that I do natural hair, she said that, you know, they needed someone that had some experience with natural hair and that was familiar with naturalistas and things like that. So I went on and took over the meetup, and then we changed it from San Diego Natural Hair to San Diego Natural Hair and Wellness because we like to embrace the holistic, you know, just the whole self.
Right.
So that's how we started, and we've been involved in a lot of different events over the years. We participated in the International Natural Hair Meetup Day twice. We put on
Mm-hmm.
our own events. Um, we do a lot of different workshops, you know, talking about hair
Mm-hmm.
products and services. And myself, you know, as a hairstylist, I do a lot of the one-on-one, you know, with different clients and things like that. So yeah, we've been going strong. So we're here regardless of, you know, what trends and what different things go on in the
Mm-hmm.
naturalistic community. We're here to
Yes.
support the women in their transition, their natural hair
Mm-hmm.
journey.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that
Mm-hmm.
was one of the questions in the film. Is this a trend or is this something that's here to stay? Right. So based
Um, hmm.
what based off of what you've seen, what do you think?
For me, for me, it's not a trend. For me, it's here to stay because I think people are waking up and we're seeing more people becoming more conscious and more aware of who they are. And it's just the time right now on the planet. You know, I think people are just coming back to themselves,
Mm-hmm.
you know, recognizing who they are, you know, or we recognizing who we are as a people. And it's just a repeat. It's in our DNA, you know,
Yeah,
so it's coming back.
for sure.
Yes.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
McKenna, what are your thoughts and how have you been and tell me what are your thoughts and everything? Is it here to stay and what do you think?
I definitely feel like it's here to stay. But I think as African American women, I think we are at a point where we think that enough is enough. They just passed a act here in California called the Crown Act, because discriminatory incidents that have been happening with Black women all over the country, and so I don't know the lady's name. I can't think of her name right now. I may have to Google it real fast and come back to it. But she advocated for it and got it passed. And I think it's a blessing happened. But then also another part of me feel like this is not necessary. because like God created us like this. This is how we were born. And why do we have to feel ashamed of who we are every time we walk into a space where we're like not the majority and people are it's like it's they basically have been, trained in some cases, raised or however to not like who we are, whereas they have some biases against us, or it's just they are curious or whatever that is. But I think systematically right now, I think it's just that we're tired of, pushing against the system. And so because of that, I think this represents us of who we are. And we're saying that we're going to be who we are, regardless of what you think of us. That's where I've been for a while, because I've been natural for like 23 years now. And I don't even, unless somebody says something to me, I really don't pay attention to my hair because it's my hair, Of course, if I go out to a nice place and I do something extra with it, but there's times I wrap it up, sometimes I pull in the bun, sometimes I just let it go. I don't care, because it's my hair. And I think when you get to the point where you just love yourself like that, you just don't get caught up in what people think is supposed to be our form of beauty.
For sure. For sure. And you know what, for me, I'll give you a little bit of background of like how this came to be. I know Makena, a bit, but for the people that will be viewing this, so from the age of 12 to 22, I pretty much got a chemical relaxer. And prior to that, me and my sisters would get our hair flat ironed, like not flat ironed, but the hot comb. And we moved to Texas, and they were saying that it was too hot in the summer to be heating up a hot comb and heating up the salon or whatever. So we started getting those. And when Reginald and we had our first son, I noticed that my hair was just shedding, and I was still getting the relaxers and stuff. And I never really, because it was just a part of what I did, I never thought that there was anything wrong with it, right? And then, my husband was like, well, why don't you start to go natural or what? And I was like afraid of the thought, you know what I mean? And so I went online and I just started digesting like hours and hours of videos of like how to do it, trying to find, like, I had no idea what my texture was like or anything. So I grew it out, and he was like, if you don't like it, you could always go back to it. And I was like, and that kind of like tipped me over, like after watching the videos. And when he said that, I'm like, you know what, you're right. And so I had the two textures, and my sister, she braids and stuff like that. And she came over and we were about to braid it up. And I was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna chop this crap off. I'm tired of these strings. And then I got this baby fro. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, let's do it, because my hair was always long. So she was kind of, she wanted to make sure. And she just cut it off. And I had like this 3-inch fro. Like, and I didn't know, like, I just started kind of applying the stuff. And then when I went to work, they looked at me like, what are you doing? What? Like, literally, that's how I was treated. I felt, I was like, it was like, somebody, I saw this meme. They said we literally get treated by how our hair, like from the different styles, you get treated differently depending on how your hair is. It was like I put on a mask or something. You know what I mean? Like a different face or something like that. How I was treated. Some people would look at me in the eye after this. I was 22 years old, and then some people were looking like, "Whoa, what happened?" And then I was on a contract, and they ended up the next day cutting the contract, and it wasn't again for like 6 months with no explanation. Like, I've always done my work, always been like top tier on what I do. And, went on, and I had one older white lady tell me, another job, you look more sophisticated when your hair is straight. I had someone from my family that was born in like 38 tell me I look like a monkey and so, yeah. And this was a person I really revered, you know what I'm saying? And so I was kind of pissed. I'm like, and confused and upset. I'm like, what is going on with, like, I don't understand what's going on. I decided to do something healthy for me. Why am I getting all this negativity, right? So I go online and I see that all these other Black women are dealing with the same issues. And so my husband had just finished a film, and we had Four Walled It here, and it was dealing with relationships or what have you. And I decided to pitch the idea, and I was like, hey, you know what happened to me at the job? Other Black women are dealing with the same thing. I think we need to document this. And that was 2013. That was like 3 years later. And he was like, okay, all right, let's do it, you know? And he took it seriously. We just started setting up interviews with people, and they just started sharing their stories. And we started seeing a commonality between everybody. And so, like, even though, like, I guess my experience kind of was the genesis of it all, I didn't want to put myself in it because I feel like it's our story. You know what I mean? I feel like it's something that it's kind of like a gift to the next generation to give them the courage to, you know, to step out and be true to their natural self. So, yeah. So that's how it came to be.
Couldn't hear. Is she muted?
I don't know.
Can you hear her still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay.
Did you want to, like?
You were saying something, but your mic, it was mute. You were muted. Kenneth.
Yeah. I wanted to mention I found the lady on Google and sent it to her name because I wanted to make sure it just happened like recently. And so her name is Senator Holly Mitchell.
Yep.
Yeah, that's her name. Far as she passed the first legislation for the state level in the United States to prohibit such discrimination called the Crown Act.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I agree with you. It is crazy that we have to put legislation in place, you know, but it's like our children and our sisters are being like like I'm trying to, like, they're being manhandled in these places. You know what I'm saying? Like to not be able to walk to your graduation because of having locks. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, just and kind of going by the rules, the rules that these corporations, organizations, they're setting rules saying you can't have your hair a certain way, and they can be biased just by their rules, you know, just because it's things like that. But I think it's important to put those laws in place so we can kind of check them, you know, on that, you know, and go into like probably some civil rights stuff if they don't abide by it. So I think unfortunately it's unnecessary. I mean, unfortunately it's necessary in order to put them back, you know, kind of like place.
To check them.
Yeah.
You know, to protect them. I mean, just like the Voters' Rights Act. You know, why do we have to vote in to vote? I mean, that's ludicrous.
Yeah.
You know, so they've always set things in place. If you think about it, a lot of these laws are based on Black people. You know, a lot of the prison laws, just in general, laws are based on us because it's always keep us down. You know, don't let us rise up, especially when you become more conscious and aware of who we are. And it represents, you know, us waking up. When they see us, they see us returning home. That's that Sankofa, you know, returning back to who we are. And that's what's going on. Even they're trying to return to us, you know, being the mothers and fathers of this planet. You know, they want to be us, you know. And so that's what's really going on, you know. And what you guys are doing is, you know, it is legacy, you know, because this is like, you know, what they say is do something that your future self will be thankful for, you know, and that's what you all are doing.
I appreciate that. You're absolutely right because, you know, we started shooting. The idea started forming in 2013. We actually started shooting in 2015. Here we are 5 years later. We didn't think we'll be here. We didn't think how long it would take, you know, to put something together, you know, of quality, how long it would take us. And after seeing the reactions, after we go have a screening, then see the Q&A, how people are affected by it. I remember it showed the week after our first screening was the week after Black Panther showed. And the crowd, it was a sold out crowd in Dallas at the Magnolia. We were at the Magnolia Theater, and she said, "I feel more empowered by this movie than that Marvel movie."
So I was like, whoa.
We were like kind of blown. like, what?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that was what
was humbling.
That's how she felt. You know, she said she felt more empowered by that. So seeing the reactions and how people talk about it, it makes it all worth it because it was a lot of work put into it.
Yes.
You guys did an excellent job. Really.
Thank you.
They did.
It was a team effort. We have one of our producers that's here in the chat. Hello, Casey.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's right there. He's
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Jazzy B as well. I don't
What's
know.
going on, Casey?
Okay. But I know me and Makena, it was like we were talking and she even said it. It was like we were like kindred spirits, like we knew each other, even though we just like met online. It was weird. But we briefly talked about culture appropriation. Can we talk a little bit about it? Because when I first for me, I'm like, okay, well, like a white girl wears braids. Well, for me at first, I was like, well, she likes braids, so like I don't get like why everybody's upset. But then that was before the film, right? And then when we started digging into the history of culture appropriation, and then realizing that not just with hairstyles, how in music and different things in our culture, it gets absorbed, and we pretty much get written out of history. And me and McKenna, we were talking about rock and roll, and with Elvis, you ain't nothing but a hound dog, right? Big Thornton, that song. Like some of us, with rock and roll, like how we had rock and roll, and also country. Many Black people feel weird listening to country, but in actuality, we were the creators of a lot of these genres.
It's just a different form of blues.
Music in general. I mean,
right. And so for me at first, I was like, oh, I don't care if a white girl's wearing braids. Who cares? But now I understand the importance and why it's important for us to document these things so that our descendants will know who were the originators of these styles, of this genre, of this dance, of whatever it is. Because if we don't preserve our memories, they'll be able to write anything. Like even with the Cleopatra movie, right? Cleopatra didn't look like that. And that's why like it was important to put that piece in there about the cultural appropriation. And I don't know, like I want to ask you guys, have you ever had to have a debate with someone that was not of the culture about cultural appropriation? Because it seems like online and even in person, like people, they're just like, you don't own braids, you don't own dreads. Like the Vikings had dreads, the Scottish had dreads. They say this stuff, and for me, like I don't want to get baited in. I've said it before and I've shut it down, but it's like I don't want to spend my energy doing it. But like how do you debate it? Like, or what do you like if somebody was to say that to you? What is your response to that?
Well, that's a good question because it's funny because I work for myself, I don't get no conversations.
I don't even.
And because it's not part of my reality, I guess you could say. But I know that when I used to work for someone else, I remember when I started going natural and I came to work with my big afro, and they just kind of looking at me and they didn't know what to say, know. And then I remember. I remember for Halloween, everybody was dressing up, and I was like, I'm not gonna dress. I'm just gonna wear my African outfit, And so they said, "Oh, you got your costume on," and I'm like, "No, I don't have my costume.
Oh,
this is me. This is me." And it's like my early 20s, and so I always say about that is that based on what I've heard other people go through, is that you see that they do steal a lot from us. They watch us and they look at, what's going on with us. They see that we create things and then we end up making money from it. We start to transfer a lot of different things. And so the sad thing is that they'll take it, and then they run with it. Just like Michael Jackson. He did the original moonwalk, and he's good at it. Nobody can be Michael Jackson, but you'll see these other artists who would try to mimic what they thought Michael Jackson was doing as far as his moves. And because it's almost like we're like the creators of it and we do it so well, and effortlessly, and they do like a little piece of it, and their people just love it because they really can't dance like us. So it's not even the full form of who we are. It's like an artificial form of our rhythm, you know. And so that's what I see. But they get excited because they don't know what the authenticity, what really supposed to look like. So it's kind of like we could be dancing, doing our thing, and really get the rhythm. They do a little bit of that, and they yelling and screaming like it's a big deal. And you really compare the way we do it and how they do it is two different worlds. And because money is able to back them up, and resources and all different things, they're able to take what they see us do and just take off with it, unfortunately. But I believe in this time that I think Black people are getting a lot smarter about that. You know, more of us are like making sure we copyright things. Just like, what was a guy who he was on that show with Will Smith. Oh my God, Carlton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because what they did with the my kids play this game all the time, Fortnite, and they took his dance and started. It had the characters doing that. One of the characters, and he's like, "Wait a minute, that's my dance." That's what he did on the show, and so he sued them because they were able to basically take the dance and and didn't give them credit for it. And they were marketing it to the kids, and the kids were thinking that it's a new dance. It wasn't a new dance. It was his dance.
Right.
It's a good thing he has proof because, it was done on the show. So he, Prince of Bel-Air, that was the show. So he was able to do something about it. But most cases, some people don't have that same documentation, where they can take, they probably at a party and they did one little move and they said, "Ooh, I like that." And they'll run off and never say where they got the information from.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. They have a history of that. To me, it's like, when they say the highest form of, what is it? The highest form of imitation is what? The highest form of, what is it? The highest form of flattery is imitation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. But they take it to the extreme. It's like a love-hate relationship. They love us so much. They want to look like us, be like us. I don't know if you guys seen that one woman from Germany where she transformed. She's been getting melatonin shots.
Oh yeah, she looked crazy.
She is darker than she's chocolate now. So and she's also, her hair texture is also changing. And I was listening to the interview with her. She was just talking about how she loved the curves of the Black woman. She loved just everything. And, she even went so far as to say she was more African than African Americans because she went amongst the Maasai people and they taught her how to make fire. I mean, so it's like some real ridiculous, silly stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, I always see us as we're the originals, and everybody knows that. Everybody around the world knows that. We're ancient people, and anything that we see in the world, is a reflection of us. A Black woman are the only women who carry the mitochondria, so we can have whatever colored child or whatever phenotype, on the planet. So when it comes to hairstyles, textures, everybody know we're the originators, but we have to keep putting it out there, like you said, because they're constantly changing things. They're constantly, changing things in the history books. They don't want to depict slavery, in a certain kind of way. They want to change that, to something a little more lighter, or whatever. So we do have to constantly push films, movies like what you're doing out there and just saturate everything so people can find the information, because they are going to always try to change something, but it's up to us. I don't know if Makena had shared with you, but Makena and I, we originally, when we got started, even before the natural hair, I know, we made we were learning more about ourselves, just knowledge of self. I know for me, that's how my journey started as far as natural hair. I just started learning more about who I am and beginning to love myself more and embrace myself. And I realized, I was like, "Ooh, I got a perm in my hair." My hair is straight. That don't match up.
Right.
And it's not that I have an issue with women who wear straight hair, but I'm just more about find a healthier way if you want to wear your hair straight, because there are Black women on the planet whose hair is naturally straight, and we have, just like I said, we have different textures, from straight to tightly coiled, so once I made that transition and started learning and loving me, loving thyself, then I said, okay, well, I'm gonna change my hair. I want to go back to my natural hair. And the funny thing about it is that at the time, I remember dating a brother from the Ivory Coast, and I remember him telling me that I it was so funny. He told me I looked like a little boy. I had cut my hair and I had cut it down to a what they call a coif, and he was joking with me, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, that's pretty messed up, But it just lets you know it's not just us that have the issue; it's even our brothers and sisters on the continent. They have issues also with their identity and their selves, as well. But it's important for all of us to learn more of who we are and embrace who we are, so that we can be really true to who we are, and really represent. And it's not so much, pointing the finger, oh, this person here is straight, this person here is this, that, and blah, blah, blah. But it's being comfortable in our own skin, and just having that knowledge of self. It's so empowering. You feel so comfortable. You feel so good when you just, without trying to be somebody else, but I'm just saying that to say it went from, from the consciousness to the hair, and then being more aware of health, because I like to approach it, like I said earlier, holistically. And some people start from the outside in, and some people start from the inside out, but the whole goal is to get to that point, to where you are authentically who you are, but yeah. Just wanted to just give that background, that we originated from the Pan-African Association, and they were educating us on, who we are as a people, and not just Black history, but ancient African history, and that's where we have to put energy there too, because some people think that we just started from slavery, and that's not where we started. You can go back in ancient Kemet and you can see that the women had afros. They originated the wigs and all kinds of different things, So it's important for us to go back further, Don't just be right there from slavery forward. Go back to the ancient information. You can see things all over the pyramids and all throughout Africa that represent us and who we are and what we have done.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And it's a difference when you have the thought process that my ancestors were slaves. Sorry.
We're a little bit under the weather.
Sorry.
Okay.
My ancestors were slaves versus royalty. There's a different way that you carry yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. And I just want to add to what I said was saying about us being part of the Pan-African Association. We were like in our early 20s, and that knowledge that we received just from being part of that, and also being, taking Black study classes at City College and everything, that really is the reason why we decided to become natural, because we realized that we weren't operating in our authentic selves. And so we were like, we want to go back to who we are. When she used the word Sankofa, it means go back to, basically to our past, right? I said, is that what mean return to our past?
Which you have lost.
Go back to which you have lost. And so, and then also that movie came out during time. There was a movie that came out called Sankofa, that they actually had this screening here in San Diego. And it was a documentary where it talked. It was actually kind of like a documentary and / fictional story about what happened to this woman when she went to Africa, and she went, back to where the slaves were basically, taken in, and chained before they went to shore, and basically,
the holding tank.
Holding tanks,
Yeah.
And she was basically getting a connection with the ancestors, and they were sharing the story about what they went through. and she got to kind of experience it because she didn't love herself. I remember in the movie she didn't love herself. She had like a wig on. I think it was like a blonde wig. She had like regular American clothes. She was living that American dream, and then this was like I guess a nightmare sense for her, where she goes back to Africa and rediscover who she is. So I think that's what's happening too with many of us, that when you understand your history and where you came from. That's one thing I love about what you guys did with the documentary. You guys did focus on that in the beginning. You did share, like, this is our history, this is what happened to us, because some people don't know that this goes way back. Because I was online yesterday, and we are going back and forth about the movie, and people had some questions, and one of the ladies has said, we put on the flyer, that San Diego is the home of the natural hair movement, and someone had an issue with it. And not in a bad way, but kind of like wasn't knowledgeable about the history of San Diego. They didn't know that Willie Morrow created the first Afro pick comb, which is what people used to pick out the afros in '70s. They didn't know that Dr. Joanne Cornwell lived in San Diego also, who been doing sister lots for 25 years. So in her mind, she thought the natural hair movement just started 10 years ago, right. But I explained to her that we have went through different phases of our movement because of trying to be accepted. What happened in the 60s and 70s, that we were fighting to be accepted. And so we didn't want to look like them. We wanted to show our power, just like you guys showed in the movie. That was a political statement saying we don't want to be like you. But then once we got comfortable and we started getting jobs and started, moving on up, we started thinking that we made it, and we started really fighting that much. And so we start accepting their ways and sense and becoming like them again. But then when you see that even when you become like somebody and they still don't respect you, then you realize that ain't working either. So I might as well be me. And that's what I loved about in the movie too, where you guys showed where it was one part where this lady was saying something. I can't remember how she put it. She said, about jobs, something about saying that, some people are worried about, looking a certain way to be accepted for employment. But she said we have to get to a point where we have to be our own bosses. If someone's not accepting you for who you are and you got to conform to be like them to work, then you have to figure out a way where you have to work for these people. And they show that there is a market for our creativity, whether it be get into beauty industry. I mean, there's all kinds of different things you can do now. I mean, I know people who are authors, and those people who are consultants. There's some people who do, remote, work, whatever that is. Because of the internet, it's like easier to do different jobs from home. But we have to find creative ways where we can still make our money and still be who we are, at the same time. And we can't be afraid to do that. So.
We don't have to assimilate.
True. And what you're saying about like the history, we're discovering things, as I talk to different people, talking to you, talking to y'all. Mm-hmm. It seems like here in America, every state has its own history. Mm-hmm. So some people just unaware, they're not unaware about the history because they've been trained in their school to only learn about mainly their state's history. So they may not even know what's going on next to them. And that's why we say we're going to have to do a follow-up, because you can only fit so much in an hour and a half, hour, 40-minute movie, and still try to keep it entertaining without having information. So that's part of the reason why we also do want to follow up. And then you also have world history along with that. We have stuff that's going on in South Africa, and then you have tribes that are just being discovered, and you look at their area and what they're doing, like, what? So it's an international thing. So we definitely have to do a follow-up just to keep reminding people and this history to people that they're unaware of what's going on. So they can be more empowered, when these laws are being passed, and they can feel good about themselves at the same time because they know where they come from.
Continue to update people on what's going on. It's important. I kind of want to make a comment because I sometimes when we Makena, you was talking about Dr. Willie Morrow.
Yes.
And I remember when this was brought to my attention, I was like, wow. I remember when Cheryl mentioned that her father, he was the one responsible for teaching the military how to cut black men hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, wow. You know, they didn't know what to do with black men hair back in the 60s and stuff. And he traveled around the world teaching them how to cut black men hair.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow, that is so deep. You know, so we have so much rich history, you know, that is never taught to us in school. You know, I mean, I happen to have, when I was in high school, I had a teacher who was a Black Panther.
Oh, wow.
He was his name was Coach Player.
Mm-hmm.
And he's passed away, may he rest in peace. But he would teach us the curriculum, because I had advanced history. So we had to learn that curriculum, and then he had another curriculum for us. And that's how I began to get interested in Black studies, as you know, from that point. And it just began to grow and grow, grow on me over time. Yeah.
I'm gonna get some water. I'll be right back.
Oh, want me to get it for you?
Okay, it's
I'm gonna
fine.
get you some water.
Yeah, you can. That's why I have my little bottle right here, because I know how I get if I feel like I'm talking too much. And the reason why I'm muting out the thing is because my children is like moving around and doing all kinds of stuff in the back. Yeah. And I'm like, it's like, that's the thing when you have a home office, because people just like they try to figure out, oh, you're doing an interview? Oh, okay. Okay, what does that mean?
They want to get in. They want to get in the interview. They want to be seen. They want to.
I guess so. And I even had a little talk with them beforehand, and I guess no one's paying attention to, like, this is live and it's being recorded.
We need to have our water right here.
Yeah,
we can have some hair esteem water, some natural hair to movie water, some celebrity events by Makena water.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes. Yeah, we have our shirts on too, Ashanti.
Yes, I love it. How did you know the size? She picked the perfect sizes.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, that was Reginald.
Oh wow.
Yes. Yeah, so I was all excited.
I was very excited. And let me tell you, this shirt is a conversation. I was selling tickets today just because I wore this shirt to yoga class.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to get a little bit into spirituality.
Oh yes.
When it comes to hair, right?
That's my favorite one.
Okay. So they as I was delving into this a little bit more, I don't know about you, but it seemed like I became a little bit more intuitive. And I was learning that our hair is an extension of our nervous system.
Yeah.
And then also, there was this experiment done with this Native American warrior. He had long hair, and he was a fierce warrior. And he was able to detect movement from the opponent before it happened, and he was able to win. However, the colonizers cut his hair. They captured him to be a warrior for them, but he didn't have the same abilities once his hair was cut. And then I was like, oh my goodness. They documented and studied him and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Wondering, and I'm like, and then I know as you saw Isis Brantley in the film, she said that Africans used to believe that God nestled in our hair. Yeah. And that antennas, right? Yes. What I feel like, and looking back on when you have a relaxer, you're literally killing it, right? The follicle, you're adding this crap. And I was seeing this myself, but I was told that there was an autopsy done on a woman who had a relaxer, and there was like tar literally underneath her scalp, between her brain and scalp. So to me, that's like blockage, chemical, just toxic, right? Do you believe that when you're natural, that you're more in tune with spirituality? Or just like hocus pocus? What do you think?
I believe we are.
Yes.
Because I've heard different stories, like the one you just told, both of those about we had a young lady that was part of the meetup, and she was a person that worked with the deceased, and she had mentioned that they have a soot, some kind of soot or something that sits underneath our scalp that's greenish blue, or whatever, and it's thick and everything. So I heard that one before. And then I also heard about, we wear our hair is like a spear, and a lot of times our sisters, they want to grow their hair out. Oh, I want my hair long. I want my hair long. But our hair grow in volume for the most part, and so that to me, someone has shared this with me. I forget who was sharing with me, but they were saying our hair grows up to the heavens. It goes up into the heavens. I mean, how beautiful is that? You know what I mean? It grows up and out into the heavens, and then, as far as our brothers and sisters that wear the locks, whether you call them Nubian locks, sister locks, brother locks, I don't like to call them dreadlocks because of the history of that. They say it's a dreadful style. So I kind of steer away from it. But I know if people only know that terminology, I kind of try to correct a little bit, correct them with that. But someone was sharing with me also is that, with the locks, or just in general, when we cut our hair, it's like cutting like our antennas, when we're pressing our hair or flat on our hair, we're like burning the antennas, and they take time to heal. Yes. And so it's like your hair is bleeding. If you think about it that way, you know what I'm saying? And it's so deep. It gets so deep. And I even have this. I had
that because God is deep. How God created us is deep.
Exactly.
Okay? If you think about where we came from Africa, and it was sunny most of the time. It was hot, and they say our hair was like a big shade.
Yeah,
that protected us from the sun. I mean, look at our skin. Melanated skin.
You can see the water beat off your hair. You can just, the water just beat off.
It kept us cool.
we got that super hair. I call it super power hair.
Yeah,
the secret is, a lot of women that I a lot of my clients, that are different ages. And I'm surprised a lot of times when I see some of my older clients that are in the 50s, 60s, and they're still learning to kind of embrace themselves, because they went for era where they were like, kind of forced because of the work. They had to really assimilate, to get jobs and stuff. But a lot of them, a lot of the sisters, they remember having afros too, and they actually tell me that, wow, I remember I used to have an afro. I forgot all about that I had an afro. And they tell me they have to think like, oh, when did I just lost that sense of being proud of my hair, and being ashamed of my hair, and now they're coming back, to loving their hair. It's like, it's a trip, it's like, wow, it's like amnesia. It's sort of like, what's that brother? What is his name? He wrote a book called The Falsification of African Consciousness. And he said that we must have historical amnesia to do the things that we do to ourselves. Ooh. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. Historical amnesia?
It's too much.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Can I talk about something I experienced yesterday? I said I want to talk about what I experienced on social media.
Oh, that part.
When you just made me think about when you said we have historical amnesia.
Yeah.
But I have posted a flyer in a online community that a lot of African Americans are in, that's in San Diego, and someone said, "I am tired of movies like this." They made a comment. And he had the caps and everything. "I'm tired of movies. This is crap." And so I was like, "Oh man, why is somebody going to?" Of course, it's one of us. So I had to respond back in an eloquent way, and let her know that I'm grateful and thankful that we have movies like this, so we can understand who we are in our history, and so we can start accepting, how God made us in our image.
What movie was
in God's image? And so from there, all these people start chiming in.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
And so so all these people start chiming in, even when my church members did, and they was going after this woman, like, no, this is not positive. We need this. It was a trip to see like how she was being like a troll on the thread, trying to like basically like, no, we don't need this, you know, this man. I was like, man, I said, what is wrong? I first came, I was like, what is wrong with us? I'm like, I mean, are you mad at God? I mean, what is it? You know, because it's getting to a point for me, it's common sense.
Right.
It's just plain out common sense. And I don't even like, sometimes I don't even like arguing about it no more, especially when it's one of us. I'd be like, go get help, go get counseling, go read a book. I'd be like, that's how I be feeling. But then I had to like calm myself down and said, she really don't know who she is. That's self-hatred. And so all you can do is do an 11 way and try to redirect. And luckily she didn't respond back to my comments because, you know, I was trying to be like, I guess you say, honorable person, respond and kind of help guy. And my husband was getting upset. He's like, what is this? So my husband put this picture of a black woman shaking her head like this for her natural hair, like she's happy and with her natural hair. And so, but luckily the admin person for the group, I was able to contact her directly. She happened to be a friend of ours, and I let her know what this woman was doing. And so she was able to delete her thread. And, you know, I hope she kept the group, Ashley,
but actually it was helpful. I mean, it
was helpful. It boosted
lemon into lemonade because it boosted up more people to
boost up the flyer.
Yeah, more people got involved in what was going on, and they were interested in coming to see the movie.
Yeah,
that part.
I'll say that, you know, the movie can trigger people. You know, we've had to we've had to kind of be a little bit even keel, you know, when we're presenting the movie, because you never know who's in the crowd. You know, we've had, you know, mixed audience and things like that. So you got to be prepared for a little bit of everything. So we're kind of used to the triggering people and kind of trying to turn it into something positive.
Yes.
What was I about to say? I know you about to say something. Did you want to say something?
For me, I'm somewhat of a fiery individual. So like, you know, I'm kind of like, you know, just put the truth out there and let the chips fall where they may.
Ooh,
a lot of us,
okay.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us are afraid to rock the boat. A lot of us are not comfortable being black, you know, to be, especially in the South. Not only that, but what's interesting, and I'm you know what? I don't even know. Let me see if I want to say this.
Lord.
Say it.
Whip it out.
We have been to HBCUs, right? And a couple of them in Atlanta, literally, I called them, went up to the campus, and they did not want to show the film.
Wow.
Did not, right?
Wow.
We've pitched Black people to be investors, and would you be surprised? You know, like the support that we've gotten has not always been from people who look like us. And that has really opened my eyes to understand that some of us don't want to expand and just don't, like you said, don't love themselves. Who in their right mind wants to remain ignorant or wants their daughter to be subjected to discrimination because of her hair? You see what I'm saying? Who in their right mind that's not knowledgeable? Because some of us don't know, right? And I was a person that didn't know. But some of us know the damages of perming, and some of us are perming 3-year-old girls' hair, putting tracks in 8-year-olds' hair with glue at the scalp. You know what I'm saying? And we're teaching them that. So if this woman has a problem with, hey, you know, that's going to be her, and I feel bad for her lineage, because literally you're teaching her that she's not good enough. She has to continue to change herself, and that's not something that I'm going to stand for, period. So I hope that she goes and gets her some help, but this movement is going to continue, period.
Yes.
Because my nieces, my daughter, you know what I'm saying? She's going to be able to stand up and be like, hey, this is who I am. If you don't want me, you know what? Holla.
Yep.
You know,
you'll have that support too, because everybody has to be knowledgeable, and the family to be like, supporting that. Hey, mom looks like this. Look how mom looks. You know,
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's a good. I remember that part. McKenna, remember the part with the brother who had the daughter, and the daughter was wearing the weave or something.
Yes,
He said that you got to take a break. Or,
Yeah.
you know, oh my gosh, he was
that
so
was good.
because what happens is like you can wear your hair however you want, right?
right.
But if you know, but you need to know who you are, so you don't become so dependent on whatever.
Yeah, on that look.
Because if you want to change up your look, I mean, people are like avatars, you know. You people throwing on wigs, hats. I have two daughters. My daughters are 19 and 21, and they've never had a perm. But I have my daughter. She'll wear lace fronts from time to time, but she'll also rock her afro. You know what I'm saying? Or you know, they're
Mhm.
because the younger generations, they're really into all the different looks and the different styles. You know, but my thing is, it's all about health. It's like if we know this stuff is killing us, it's doing some kind of damage,
Mhm.
you know, it's doing something because it's seeping into our pores. So the
Mhm.
cancer rates are going up, fibroids are going up. Come on now.
Mhm.
We know if you've been putting something in your body for over 20, 30 years,
Mhm.
it's going to have an effect on your health.
Adverse effect on your
Period.
health. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For
So,
sure.
you know,
Mhm.
my thing is like, you know who you are, you know, so that you know that you can, you'll be fine whether you're wearing this or not. You know what I'm saying? If you want to
Mhm.
rock a wig or a weave, I have a lot of clients that come to me just for a shampoo, wash, and cornrows, so they can throw their wig on. But
Yeah.
they're
Mhm.
taking care of their hair underneath. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
that's
if you don't wear
important.
a weave, you know, make sure you got somebody that know how to put that weave on properly, so you don't end up with a bald spot and alopecia. You know,
Mhm.
abstraction alopecia, which I have a lot of clients that have come to me because I don't do weaves. You know, but I'm not against weave, but you know, I just like
Mhm.
to focus on women and my niche is to focus on your natural hair. You know, and I do some extension
Mhm.
braids and stuff from time to time, but I just don't do weaves. You know,
Right.
Mhm.
I do the crochets, I do
Mhm.
twist braids, you know, all the little popular twist styles and
Mhm.
things like that. But I don't want to do anything that's going to be causing damage to your hair, and you come back to me and say,
Mhm.
"Hey, my hair came out." I don't even press hair. I don't press and flat on hair. I
Mhm.
don't offer that as a service. I'll stretch your hair, but I'm not going to press it because I don't want to damage your curl pattern. And you know, and
Mhm.
that's what happens. Your curl pattern gets damaged with all that heat. Now, some people hair texture may
Mhm.
be a little more, you know, coarser, where they can handle a little more heat than other people. But at the end of the day, it messes up your curl pattern. You know, but you know, to each his own. I'm just one of those hairstylists. I meet you where you at. You know, and I
Mhm.
just work with you where you at and try to give you the healthiest options for your hair. You know,
Mhm.
that's me. You know, so it just
Yeah.
know who you are. You know, and find
Mhm.
yourself where you're embracing you, and you're not dependent on this wig or dependent on this weave or dependent on these braids. You know, you do have to give your hair a rest. So I love that part in the movie where that brother was making sure his daughter wasn't dependent
Right.
on that look to feel secure. You know, at the end of the day. You
Mhm.
know,
That's
yeah.
good. That's good. And one of the things I thought about too, when you just said, Ashanti, about is about our future generations. And that's one of the things I remember including in my comment too. I was saying that it's not about us, it's about our generations that will come after us.
Yes.
And what do we want to leave with them? We need to leave with them with knowledge and wisdom, right? And so it can come in form of books, it could come in form of videos, films, wherever, even artwork, wherever. We need to create those images where our children's children will continue to love themselves. We don't want to go back to where we were, where basically in the 70s we were like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and then all of a sudden we get complacent again and we think we made it. We can't. Unfortunately, it already been proven to us that they always are doing some type of trick, under their sleeve somewhere, and we have to get smarter. And I'm praying to God that one day that we don't have to continue this fight, because it's about human rights, period. People of color, period, being accepted and acknowledged and respected for who we are, period. So,
Yes.
Absolutely.
oh, you got something going with your throat, girl.
You got some ginger? You drinking your ginger?
I need some.
Ginger would be good for that.
Yeah. I always have some ginger tea. I actually bought some ginger
warm ginger. You can
powder.
chop up the ginger and drop it down into your hot water.
All you get some ginger seasoning, and that's what I do. It's like warm hot water, and then I just throw in there, a couple of teaspoons, and ginger is good for that.
Apple cider vinegar also.
You
can just put a little bit of your apple cider vinegar in there too.
Oh, it said vinegar and ginger in there at the same time.
Oh, you could do that. I said
you could if you want to hook up an elixir like that. Yeah, a lot of times
knock it all out.
Regular tea. If you drink a regular tea, you can just take a cap of apple cider vinegar and pour it in your tea. And it just helps. It kills all that bacteria and stuff. You can gargle with it. Gargle with some salt and warm water. That'd be good for you too.
Yeah.
What something else you wanted to talk about? Did y'all have any questions?
No, I don't know. I know. The two. How old are you two? How old are the two of you?
I'm 33.
She's 33. I'm 38.
33 and 38. Okay. Yeah. You remember that age?
No. Yeah. I remember that age.
33 and 38. All right. You guys are doing good. Do you two have children?
We have four. We have four kids.
Okay. Okay.
We have three boys and 1 girl.
3 boys, 1 girl.
Oh, okay. Oh, really? Okay.
You guys are creating legacy right there.
Appreciate
it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love how long you guys been married?
How many years is it now? 10? 11?
Wow. 11 years.
That's a blessing. See, that you guys are, that right there says a lot. A Black family that produces because I know my husband and I work together too, and so I think it's very important for us to represent that for our children and know that we can do this together. It takes a family unit. My mom always tell us all the time still that charity starts at home. So you take care of your home, then you be a good representative outside, your home, which is in the streets, you be a good citizen. But that most people are not taking care of their home first. And so that's why we got all this crazies going on sometimes, because we're not teaching. So you guys are teaching your children too by you guys taking this time to create a film like this. That's a blessing. They're going to remember this. Believe my kids been watching me build my business from scratch since they were born, pretty much. And so I'm grateful.
Thanks for the encouragement. Thanks for the encouragement.
Yeah.
I remember our oldest son, when he was our only son at the time, he was in the theater, one of the first films. He was hanging out in the theater with us, but him having the memories of us making movies, like that's normal to him now. He's like, mom's on the poster and the DVD. So like for him, that's just the family business.
Wow. That's so cool. Oh my God.
I love it. Oh my gosh. It's just so beautiful. And as Black people, and I know you mentioned how sometimes our own people, sometimes, they can be sometimes the enemy.
Yeah.
And it's so sad, but we have to remember that people have been conditioned to think that way and to behave that way. They, our people have been trained not to love themselves. So, so you have to just kind of put them over there and say, okay, hopefully, they'll catch up, and you just continue to work with the people who are on your frequency, the people who are, exchanging that love energy with you, and that support you. It's a shame that it's like that, and then you have some, some other people, from other backgrounds, that support you. And you're like, wow, it does make you look at things differently.
Yes.
It put it on a bigger scale of like what's really going on here. Either you loving or you hurting,
Sure.
And that's it. I have clients that are, that are white and they have Black children, and I give them props because they go out and try to find somebody to help them with their children's hair, And they, if they have questions and stuff, they ask me, what should we do in this situation? What should we do in this situation? And I mean, I just appreciate it, that they're going out their way to make sure this child has some cultural, enrichment in their life, and we have our own people sometimes that, they're not doing it. you know, and so we as a people who are aware and who are conscious, it is our responsibility to put this information out and to, just make sure that we can do as much as we can do to help, because there's families that don't have the knowledge of anybody in the household that can give them this information. They're suffering, they're hurting. A lot of our children, they don't love themselves. They don't love their hair. They don't like their skin. They don't like being black. And that's a fact. I mean, it is what it is. So if they in a household and their parents are not communicating with them or talking to them, or they don't have any influence, any family or anybody to tell them that they're beautiful, and that they just to embrace themselves as black people, we need people to step outside of, of that, to come in and help. And that's what you guys are doing with this film. Is going to help somebody. It's going to make a difference. Yeah, I think Makena leave.
Can we talk a little bit more about the festival and like historic, how long that's been going on, and so that we can enlighten everybody?
Okay, so the Kuumba Fest has been going on for 28 years. This is the 28th year of the Kuumba Fest, and the Kuumba Fest, it represents the word Kuumba, one of the Nguza Sabas. For Kuumba means creativity, which is one of my favorite favorite ones. Makena, would you like to speak on the history of the Kuumba Fest? She's a little more knowledgeable with working with Brother Dahan this year for the Kuumba Fest, but it has been around for 28 years, and there's different activities that go on. But I'll let Makena share a little bit more on that. Oh, she froze. Okay, so I'll go on to talk it. So, Dahan Blevins, he's the founder of the Kuumba Fest, and they have what I wanted to say. I know it's been, as far as I know, it's been at the Lyceum Theater all the years that they've had it here in San Diego. But there's different people can come in and do different activities. They've had plays at the Kuumba Fest before, poetry slams. They do things for the youth, like they do a Apollo night. They have an open marketplace, so a lot of vendors come in and be able to share their items and different things like that. Let's see, it's so many different things that go on. They have the Royal Court.
Okay.
They give out awards and different things like that for people in the community that are doing things. So it's a beautiful event that it happens every year, and it's just it's something good to come out and to support continuously, and just to keep it going, because as this is San Diego.
So what does that mean? What does that mean when you say almost every city says in different ways. Like,
okay, well, what that means in San Diego, most people that I know that become my clients or people that come through our meetup, they're looking for the Black community in San Diego. And so a lot of times people will go to events so they can start finding the Black community, because there's so many layers of things that are going on in the world today. So a lot of people are moving out of San Diego. It's getting very expensive here. you know. So going to cultural events, you know, is where people can, if you're from somewhere else, is where you can find the connection of the Black community. If you're looking, you know, for the Black community,
Yeah.
that's one of the events that you can go to. A matter of fact, that's where Makena and I first met at the Kuumba Fest. So it has a lot. We were talking about that the other day. It has a lot of history just in with our friendship.
Right.
You know, we met there. But so you have to kind of, you know, and there's different pockets of people, you know, when we talk about different levels of consciousness, you know, there's so many layers, you know, and you want to be able to be open, you know, to different people and different communities at the same time. But when it comes to finding the Black community, we're kind of just spread out, you know, in different places. So a lot of times people have joined the natural hair, San Diego natural hair meetup, not necessarily originally for hair, but they was just looking for Black women. And then they decided that, oh, because it's open, like you can just come. You don't have to be a naturalista to join the natural hair meetup. But we haven't opened it up to our males yet, because a lot of times Black women are not as comfortable talking about their hair issues and things like that around Black men. So when we have bigger events, like when we did International Natural Hair Meetup Day, or some of the bigger events where there's hundreds of people that come out, then we open it up to men to come and participate. But when we're having our regular meetings where we're talking about a lot of the issues and stuff that Black women deal with their hair, we just kind of focus on the Black women.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm yet to see a brother come out and do a San Diego natural hair group for the men.
Yeah, it really is more about support.
Men have issues too surrounding their hair, you know.
They do. Me personally, I think, you know, I'm going bald a little bit, so gotta try. So I got a hat on.
All right.
So yeah, you're right. We do have issues.
Yeah.
But I think kind of like my role is more like supporting what they're doing. You know, I can lose my hair now, and it's not a big deal. You know? Yeah.
But to be honest, a lot of sisters now are rocking their hair bald.
Yeah.
You know, and they're confident, you know. I mean, to each his own. Me personally, you know, oh my gosh, I think I have such a big head.
Yeah.
But you know what? But I have worn I've worn a short afro before, and you know, I've rocked that. You know, so you know, I've seen a lot of women wearing their hair, and it's not because they got cancer.
Right.
They choose to just take it off, and they're not even tripping. Like my yoga instructor.
Yeah.
She keeps her hair shaved down. I grew her locks out for her, and she said it was like the longest her hair ever been. And then once it grew out to where she can see that her hair grows, she took it back off. She was like, I just like my hair bald.
She's like, I'm done. Yeah.
That's it. She just wanted to see that her hair grows, and then she went back to a bald head.
Right.
You know, and it's fitting for her, you know.
Oh.
She looked good with it. She's rocking it, you know. So we can do all of that. You know, that's just like in the Black Panthers with the Dora Milaje. So many women were like, "Oh yeah," you know. they was loving that. Yeah.
Would you rock it?
I don't know.
You can see how
Would you rock it? You can do it. Look at you, got pretty face.
My family.
We do. I don't know.
Yeah, we how many out of the kids? You know, they got the big head in the back.
But that's the thing. See, once we get past that place where we're not taking off the hair, you know, you can wear, it's whatever you want to do. You can put a tattoo in your head and keep it moving, you know, or something. You have a little Afro. I was telling my one friend that's bald head. I said we're gonna put the little Africa on your head. You know? Oh, Makena's back in. Makena, they were asking about the history of the Kuumba Fest.
Oh, she went out again.
We don't know what's going on.
I think she
Did she try calling you or anything?
No, she texted me.
Okay. Okay. Add to stream again.
Go.
I'm back. Okay.
I think one of the times I didn't realize I didn't add you. My bad. I'm sorry. Because we can see your
no
face, but then you gotta hit add.
My phone died.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know better next time.
They was asking about the history of the Kuumba Fest.
Yeah, just a little quick history, just a quick little recap, just to enlighten people that are going to be in the video.
Well, what I'll do, I'll take time to actually make sure I look it up too, because I know what I know personally from the Kuumba Fest, like how actually that's where Auset and I met.
Yeah,
at the Kuumba Fest in our 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But I could look up the history. But I actually know the artistic director personally. I know him from a friend of mine's. At one time they were married and they had children together, and so they actually put this event on. For it's been going on now for about 28 years. So it's been a while. Let's see. Let me go to it. And so that's how I got introduced to Kuumba Fest. The artistic director, his name is Dahan Blevins, and he's the one who's over it. Let me see right here. And I'm gonna.
And then also, if you can put the link, the website in the chat, just so people can have that, so they can check it out for themselves.
So how can I get to the chat? Or I just go to it and type?
Mm-hmm. You should be able to.
I don't know if I can see. I don't see where I could type.
Oh, let me hit show. We're new.
She went off.
Uh-oh. All right. What is it showing up on there?
Live viewer comments show up on screen.
Oh, okay. This is.
Oh, you gotta click on show.
Oh, okay. This is cool.
That is cool.
I see Jazzy right there.
And then you click on the next one.
Mm-hmm. Jazzy. That's what Casey's one of the producers.
Yeah.
Okay. I got it. Okay. Oh, she's there. Sorry. She said, add me in.
Okay. I'm actually at their website right now.
Okay.
So I met Dahan Blevins in my early 20s when he first started out doing the Kuumba Fest, but they've been doing it for 28 years. And so I think he had been doing it for a few years prior to me meeting him. And they basically, it's about, us celebrating our culture, and basically telling people that, we are creative people and that we use our creativity to survive and prosper in the Black community. Our creativity is for motivation, collective work, encouraging responsibility, and self-empowerment. And so they have different activities that go on at the Kuumba Fest. Like the first night they have a royal court and my husband's actually going to be getting an award that night for what he does with the fitness community. But they basically, nominate people that represent different principles of the Nguzo Saba. And so I think my husband's getting an award for, I think his is Nia, for purpose. And people have to nominate them, and then they have a culture committee decide which community members they think fit in that, principle. And so, and then on Saturday, they're going to be having like a lot of different things. They have a dance team competition thing. Of course, my husband's going to be doing fitness that morning, right outside the theater. Then, of course, we have the natural hair, the movie at 6:00 that evening. Then after us, they're going to have like a Apollo Night Live type of thing where it's really funny, but people up there competing. And then I know when I watched it years ago, they had somebody, go on stage and pull them off stage and people booing and everything. And then they have a winner at the end. Then on Sunday, it's kind of low key, where I know they have a Reader's Theater that's going to be there. They're also going to do a gospel concert, and they're going to be doing a comedy that night. So like different variety of different events is going for 3 days. It's a 3-day festival.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Before we wrap up, is there anything that we would like to touch on before we?
Mm, let me see.
Something.
First of all, I feel grateful to know you guys
Yes.
and just have the opportunity to be able to talk to you guys, especially with my best friend. I said we've been on this journey for a long time, and we always, we're kind of like tripping out sometime when we saw that this movement came back and people start going natural, and then they start putting out these products, and we're like, whoa, we already doing this, and this is becoming
Yeah, y'all just got here. What are y'all doing?
yeah, so it was amazing to watch it reemerge itself, you know. And so I'm just thankful that you guys did just an excellent job and be able to sit down and watch the whole entire documentary and see what you guys did, how you touched all the different points of what people are talking about from the image, not only just our hair, but also the color of our skin, the colorism, which is still existing today. Some people feel like they got better hair because their hair has a certain curl pattern than another person. That's
Right.
silly stuff.
Yeah.
And it's you had the one girl who's saying that she went to, I think it was private school, and they literally was changing all the policies about how to wear their hair based on how she was wearing her hair, so she was
Yep.
being discriminated against. So it's just interesting just to see all the stuff that we're going through just for us to be accepted. You showed like the different dimensions
Yes.
what we go through, and then the professional world. With the one lady, it was interesting because she was saying that how okay, I got my hair laid flat because if you're gonna be in this industry, as far as being Newcastle, you got this how you gotta look. And there's other lady, she in the back like doing her hair like this, like let me change my hair like that. I'll keep this poop right here. She telling her like, well, if you want to stay in this game, then you need
Yeah.
to look like this. But I mean, it's what we're telling our own people to like be like someone else to stay in
Yep.
the game. It's like it's almost like it's so insulting. It's like we've been in program to keep
Yep.
each other down. Now we're doing it. They don't even have to do it half time. We do it.
We take it over and
We
continue.
taking over it.
We definitely. I mean, we appreciate it. It's an honor to meet y'all and to know that y'all been working and been on the movement. So it's cool that we connected. And thanks for reaching out to us. You say you got it online, right? Is that how
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Yes.
So it's crazy how things like that happen. Yeah, and to add to kind of what you were saying is that that segment in the movie, what was her name? She had yellow hair, the one in the back had all that hair.
Yeah.
She's actually, because at the time she was a student. So now she's a full time, working as a reporter, and she still has her hair the same way.
Okay.
Mhm.
She was able to get her hair. And then the other newscaster, the one that was telling her to keep her hair, to straighten it or whatever, of course her hair is still straight and she wears it straight, but she caught a lot of flack for that from different communities because she didn't mean how it came out, but
Right.
we heard it. So she kind of caught a lot of flack for that because she telling that baby what to do with her hair.
Sometimes I think we don't even realize. Sometimes we are so programmed, like automatic pilot, that we don't even realize what the things that we say to each other, like things like, "Oh, you have fair skin." What? My skin is not fair. I mean, we say things, or we call each other nappy headed, and we don't even realize the because we're so used to communicating and talking like that. It's like we gotta relearn a lot of word stuff that we choose, because some words, they just don't feel good.
Yes.
They it doesn't it don't feel good. And it don't feel good when you hear it. It makes you feel some kind of way inside. Yeah.
Oh, words are powerful. I had to speak for Ashanti. Yeah, words are powerful.
Yes, they are. You can feel the vibration of a word. It's so powerful. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
You guys did this video. You guys did justice.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We're proud of you.
Thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate that. We appreciate it. So one last time, they can go get tickets. Where?
Oh yeah, they could go to look, now I got it's a special website. It's www.makena SDUWW.org/tickets.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then go ahead and plug y'all's Instagram just to make sure, just in case they don't go there, they can find it on your Instagram and thing like that.
Okay. And also we created a bit.ly link to make it easier for people, because that main website goes, shows the whole festival. But if someone just want to go to the event only, the natural hair movie, they could go to a bit.ly link and just go type in natural hair the movie. Yeah, so bit, it has a bit.ly, bit.ly or it's bit.ly / I probably messed it all up.
Okay.
But yeah,
I
again,
had to type it physically so I could see it.
But again, everybody, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you for your time. Whoever is watching this webinar, make sure y'all go get your tickets for the Kuumba Fest. Check out the movie, check out the festivities, everything they have going on. Leave reviews, comments, let us know how it went.
We'll do another one after the show.
We're gonna do a follow-up after the show.
Ooh, that'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we're excited about it. We just got a lot of work in between. We're up here getting these seats filled.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for inviting us on.
All right, no problem. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Ginger.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Makena.
I guess shut down.
Did we shut out? We just shut it down?
Yeah.
Okay, sis. Okay.